Do you say in the bus or on the bus? 99% of English learners fail these tricky preposition rules. Let's see if you have what it takes to score a perfect 30 out of 30. 1. I have an important meeting Monday morning. We use on for specific days of the week, even though the phrase includes morning, which usually takes in the specific day. Monday overrides it and requires on. The other prepositions are incorrect for days of the week. My older brother was born December. We use in for months, years, decades, and centuries if a specific date was mentioned, such as December 5th. We would use on because only the month is provided and is the only correct choice. 3. The train departs exactly 5 o'clock, so do not be late. We use at for specific, precise clock times. In is for broader time periods, on is for days, and to implies direction or a limit, making them incorrect in this context. 4. She walks the grocery store every single afternoon. The preposition to is used to indicate a destination, direction, or movement toward a specific place, and on and at indicate position or location rather than movement toward a destination. 5. They have been living in London for over 10 years. We use in when referring to enclosed spaces or large geographical areas like cities, countries, and continents. At is used for specific points, and on is for surfaces, so they do not fit here. 6. Please leave the documents the kitchen table. We use on to indicate that an object is resting upon a physical surface. In would mean inside a container, and that would just indicate general proximity, which does not fit the context of a table surface. 7. I am waiting for you at the bus stop right now. We use at to designate a specific point or location along a route. A bus stop is considered a specific point on a map rather than an enclosed space that would require an or a surface that would require on. 8. I always prefer to drink my coffee in the morning. We use in for general parts of the day, such as in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. At is an exception used for night. But for morning, it is grammatically required. Mine. I was talking to her while I was the public bus. For large forms of public transportation where you can stand up and walk around, such as a bus, train, or airplane, we use on. We only use in for private or small vehicles like cars and taxis. 10. Can you please give that blue pen to me? The preposition to is used to show the transfer or direction of an object from one person to another. The other prepositions denote static location and cannot be used with the verb give in this context. 11. The flight was delayed, so they will arrive in Paris very late. When the verb arrive is followed by a large geographical area like a city or a country, we use in. We use at for arriving at buildings or specific events, and we never use to with arrive. 12. We need to arrive at the airport 2 hours before our flight. With the verb arrive, we use it when referring to a specific place, building, or event such as an airport, a station, or a party, and is reserved for cities and countries. 13. My sister has always been very good solving complex math problems. The adjective good is always followed by the preposition at when talking about skills or abilities. Saying good in is a common mistake made by English learners, but it is the only grammatically correct choice. 14. Whether we go to the beach tomorrow will depend on the weather. The verb depend is universally paired with the preposition on. English learners often mistakenly use of or on, but depend on is a fixed prepositional phrase in English grammar. 15. She has been married to a famous doctor for 3 years. In English, the adjective married takes the preposition to when indicating the spouse. A very common error is using with, but married to is the correct standard phrase. 16. Since my car broke down, I had to travel to work foot. The correct idiom for walking is on foot, meaning you are standing on your feet to travel. We say in a car or on a bus, but for walking, on foot is the only accepted phrase. 17. We will find out who the killer is. The end of the movie. We use at the end when referring to a specific point in time or the physical conclusion of something, like a movie or a book. In the end means finally or ultimately, which alters the meaning entirely. 18. I really look forward to hearing from you soon. The phrasal verb look forward requires the preposition to, followed by a noun or a gerund verb ending in -ing. In this context, to is functioning as a preposition, not as part of a bare infinitive. 19. Please do not shout at the children. It scares them. When you raise your voice in anger directed towards someone, you use shout at. If you use shout to, it implies you are just trying to be heard over a long distance without anger, which contradicts the context of scaring them. 20. I read an amazing article about space travel on the internet. Electronic media platforms and broadcast networks take the preposition on. We say on the internet, on TV, on the radio, and on a website. Using it is a frequent error. 21. We rushed to the station and arrived just in time to catch the last train. The phrase in time means arriving with enough time to spare before an event happens or a deadline passes. On time means happening exactly at the scheduled time, but the word just implies catching it before it was too late. 22. I strongly object to the new rules being implemented by the management. The verb object is fixed with the preposition to when expressing disagreement or opposition. It is followed by a noun or a gerund. The other prepositions are grammatically incompatible with object in this context. 23. I will meet you the corner of 5th Avenue and Main Street. We use at the corner when referring to the outside intersection of two streets. We use in the corner when referring to the inside space of a room, since this is a street intersection. It is the correct choice. 24. The angry protester threw a heavy rock at the window, breaking the glass. When throw is used with the intent to hit or damage a target, we use at. If we used to, it would mean throwing it for someone to gently catch, which does not fit the context of an angry protester breaking glass. 25. Eating a diet high in processed sugar can lead to severe health problems. The verb lead when meaning to cause or result in something is always followed by to. It shows the direction of consequence. Result in has a similar meaning, but since the verb is led, to is strictly required. 26. I bought this expensive television because it was sale for half the price. The phrase on sale means that an item is available to purchase at a reduced price. For sale just means an item is available to be bought, but does not imply a discount in this context. On sale is the precise idiom. 27. I found my lost wallet buried deep in the back of the taxi. When referring to the rear interior space of a small vehicle like a car or a taxi, we use in the back. We use at the back when talking about buildings, rooms, or lines of people. 28. My surprise, the notoriously strict teacher gave everyone an A on the test. To my surprise is a fixed prepositional idiom used to express astonishment about an outcome you cannot use an on or at with this specific emotional expression structure. 29. When she asked me the difficult question, I was completely at a loss for words. "30. I am writing this formal letter on behalf of my client." The phrase on behalf of is a standard business and legal idiom meaning as a representative of someone else. In behalf of is sometimes used in U.S. English to mean for the benefit of, but on is universally accepted for representation.